Cluck and Cover, Joe Ostrowski, Ryan Horvat with you every single week via YouTube, via the podcast as well at betchickendinner. No, that's not. Damn it, I'm confusing people. You know, I'm going to start over. That was wrong. I started reading the Twitter one when that's not it. That's not the YouTube. I had it wrong. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, Cluck and Cover, Joe Ostrowski, Ryan Horvat with you every single week. We're on YouTube at betchickendinner. Hit a like, subscribe, get in the comments what we're discussing on Twitter at Ryan Horvat. I'm at Joe Ostrowski. Follow at betchickendinner over on Twitter. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify as well. Horvey, the Super Bowl is set. You're getting support for the Seahawks, and, you know, the Patriots got here. You give them credit for that. But I can't say it's been in the most convincing fashion. And we're seeing that in the betting lines as the Seahawks are favored by 4.5 now.
Yeah, I was trying to make the case. Good weekend for me. And the one that I was nervous about was Seattle. If we would have got back to 3 and it wasn't minus 115 or minus 120, wherever that even closed at, I didn't even see on Sunday because I bet Seattle money line minus 135. You know, I was considering the Rams, but Seattle's defense is just so damn good, man. And I thought, we talked about this on the last podcast. I know Darnold had a ton of turnovers in those 2 regular season matchups, but I really liked him against that Rams defense. The Rams defense just wasn't really, especially the secondary was not the same after week 8, week 9. I mean, we saw that against Carolina when Bryce Young and that offense hung over 30 points. So was happy with my weekend. The AFC title game, the AFC championship game was a tough watch, but was happy to have 4.5.
Was it the worst game ever? I heard people yelling that it was the worst game ever.
Yeah, I think that was a bad take. I wouldn't say worst game ever. I like defensive battles like that because it's like one mistake can cost you the game, right? You have to play the field position game. You can't be too aggressive. You have to punt on 4th down. You have to trust your defense like Mike Vrabel did. And that's why, I keep going back and forth here. I like Seattle. I don't necessarily love 4.5, but I don't think we're going to get a better price, obviously, since the number continues to go up. And on paper, the matchup just doesn't seem very good for New England. But man, Vrabel has this defense playing lights out right now. They're getting after the quarterback. And, as good as Seattle's looked, especially here in the playoffs, it is still Sam Darnold. And I love the story, the retribution, but I could still see him having a couple turnovers in this game. So we'll see. Early lean here for me would be Seattle. But yeah, going back to the AFC championship game, I'm not going to say the worst game, the worst playoff game of all time. I enjoyed it. It also helped that I had Denver and I had the Stidham rushing yards and the rushing attempts because they figured him out quickly. He had that early completion, had a couple nice throws. And then after that, they just discovered that, hey, if we pressure this guy and we send the blitz right up the middle, he's going to struggle. And that's what happened in the second half. So I was happy to be on the right side. Not the worst game I've ever seen, but definitely a defensive battle.
Well, you're going to get that with weather. That's what we have. Eventually, we're not going to get that because all these new stadiums that are being built, almost all of them are going indoors, and you're going to have the controlled environments, which is going to benefit teams like the Rams moving forward that are built in that fashion. And there's going to be more of those football teams built in that way. You get that. And as grown up as football fans, we've seen that our entire lives, where games are impacted by weather, and that one certainly was. And you see how much Vrabel is, in one sense, trusting his defense, but in the other sense, he's watching what's happening. A lot of those decisions that Sean Payton came under fire for, and I understand what people are saying, I don't think those same decisions are made if it's the second half, if you have more football to see throughout and how the game was actually going. Because, being aggressive early on with that quarterback, the way he was playing, is he making that decision in the 3rd or 4th quarter like he did very early to go to instead of going up 10-0 to try to go up 14-0? I don't know that he would have done that.
Right. And it's tough. But if you're paying attention to the weather, you're like, hey, we have some wind. We have some snow that's going to hit us here in the second half. Maybe you do take the point. See, I like the analytics. I like being aggressive. But in that situation, it's your backup quarterback, and it's Jared Stidham, right? I mean, this isn't a situation where you have Mac Jones like they did in San Francisco. And Stidham did play all right there in the first half, but I would have taken the points only because you have that defense and because Drake May, as good as he was in the regular season, hasn't really shown a whole lot here in the playoffs. Holds onto the ball a little bit too long, takes a bunch of unnecessary sacks, and I still don't really trust New England's offensive line, especially Will Campbell. He's been a disaster really since that knee injury. So yeah, it's so easy to go back, I guess, and critique, but that is one of the times where I would have taken the points. Went up 2 scores. I mean, it would be nice to go up 14-0, but I would have went up 10-0 with that defense going against a young quarterback, second-year quarterback. But man, it does suck. It really does if you're a Denver fan. But I do think that completely changes the game.
45.5, 46. That's the total we're sitting at. It's wild when you look at where we were before the season. Sometimes you get one surprise in the Super Bowl. We've got 2 surprises, and it may not have felt that way at the very end because of how Seattle was rated as one of the top 2 teams in the NFL for a long while now. But don't forget where we started. Both of these teams, win total 8.5. Both of these teams, 30-1 to win their conference. Both of these teams, way down the board to win the Super Bowl. We're talking 60-80 at the start of the regular season. So it is wild here. Next week, a lot of props with Chicken Dinner, myself and Sam, and on this show as well. But Horvy, I heard you haven't wasted any time. You're already getting active in the prop market?
Yeah, there's a couple that I like here. Again, I'm going back and forth on the side. I probably end up betting Seattle here. It's just like we talk about the defense, but their offense, so damn good. Granted, I mean, the Rams secondary has been struggling. And then you look at the Patriots. The reason I really can see this getting out of hand is just their strength of schedule, 31st in strength of schedule. I know we've talked about that here a ton, but I mean, Seattle, I feel like they're the more battle-tested team. I trust that defense. And what scares me most in this matchup is they're able to get pressure, and they don't really have to blitz. I mean, they 39.8%. That's where they're generating pressure without having to blitz 25.9%. And Drake May, like I talked about, he holds onto the ball a little bit too long. And he took, the 5th highest rate of sacks this season. So I could see Seattle's defense making life a living hell. But as far as props, there's a couple that I do like here. So Drake May, I love the rushing yards and the rushing attempts in that last game against Denver. Not so much here against Seattle because, like I said, I don't know if he's going to have the opportunities on the scrambles. And we'll see how much quarterback design stuff that they do in this matchup. So I like under 37.5 rush yards. I saw this plus 115 over at Caesars. I don't think Stevenson's going to get a full workload here like he did in the AFC Championship game without the weather. So I went under 15.5 rush attempts. That is minus 124. I think we're going to see some more of Travion Henderson. So 17.5 rush yards is the best price I'm seeing, minus 114. And then rush attempts, I'm not going to bet this, but it's 4.5, minus 154. If he gets 5 to 6 attempts in this game, I think we're getting at least 20, 25 rush yards. So I just think 17.5 is way too short. So I like Henderson here. I figure an extra week to prep. They're going to have to get creative going against this Seattle defense, man. It's not going to be just Drake May using his legs and pounding Henderson into a loaded box. Pause. I think they're going to have to use their playmakers here. So give me Henderson over 17.5 rush yards. I think that's my favorite prop on the board. And I am going to go under on Drake May's rushing yards here going against this Seattle defense.
As far as the Stevenson-Henderson thing, it's how a lot of people are going to look at it. Well, he doesn't trust him. He didn't trust him to do anything. You've made the Super Bowl and you're the underdog. You're not expected to win. What the hell do you have to lose?
Right.
Why the hell not? I kind of like your thinking there. Maybe I'll get there as well. That's fascinating. Fascinating.
Yeah.
MVP.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I have the rush attempts for Stevenson in front of me. So he had 25 rush attempts against Denver in cold weather game against that defense, right? And I get not trusting the rookie. Before that, he had 16 rush attempts. But before that, he hadn't went over 15.5 rush attempts. He had 10 against the Chargers, 7 against the Dolphins, 8 against the Jets, 8 against the Ravens, 6 against Buffalo, 12 against the Giants, 6 against Cincy, 14 against Cleveland. So he's went over 14 and a half rush attempts the last 2 games here in the playoffs, but hadn't in the regular season. So I do like the under on the rush attempts, man. I think, again, yeah, like you said, nothing to lose. Extra time to prep here for a really good OC. I think we're going to get some more Henderson, and I think they're going to need his speed against Seattle. So, I mean, what does that tell you that the rush attempts are juiced minus 157 on the 4.5, and the yards are only 17.5? I know how good Seattle's run defense is, top 5 against the run, as well as getting after the quarterback. So you got to throw that in there. But, dude, I mean, that's one home run. That's one 15-yard, 16-yard gain, and we're in business. So I really like that prop.
Yeah, with that guy especially.
Yeah.
Right now, I'll thank you. Maybe I'll curse you in a couple of weeks. Curse is a little strong, but I'm fine with it. You put the idea of Witherspoon out there at 750 to 1 being the Super Bowl MVP. He did make a couple of big plays at the end of that game when the Rams are trying to score. I'll say I'm happy I'm holding that ticket, 750 to 1. Those are long gone on Witherspoon. I have a few Seahawks guys, but do you have another long shot? What are you holding for Super Bowl MVP? Because I've got JSN as my shorter ticket. He's the third favorite now. I got 18 to 1. Mentioned that on Chicken Dinner. A few long shots on defense. But what is your plan of attack here? I mean, Darnold's a favorite. He should be the favorite. He's a quarterback of the team that's favored by 4.5 points.
Right. I really like having the Devin Witherspoon ticket. Again, because it could be a pick 6. It could be a forced fumble. He's a playmaker. And if this game gets out of hand, and we'll see where this one closes at 4.5 right now. If Seattle wins this game by double digits, this could get ugly in the second half, especially when Drake May has struggled here in the playoffs. He throws a couple interceptions. He's taken 15 sacks. He's already thrown 2 picks. He's lost 3 fumbles, and he's only averaged 177.7 passing yards per game in the playoffs. So if this gets ugly, you can make the case for Witherspoon or another Seattle defensive player. But the other markets, I'm with you on JSN, man. I mean, most likely if he balls out, it's going to be because of Darnold, right? And Darnold, because of the story and because he's the quarterback, and this award has been dominated by quarterbacks, most likely gets it. But, I mean, we saw that with Cooper Kupp, and JSN against the Rams, 10 grabs, 153 yards, had a touchdown on 12 or 13 targets. If we have a Cooper Kupp-like game in the Super Bowl, I could see him. So, anything over 5 to 1, you could get plus 550 still at DK. I'm looking at it with JSN. I do like him. If you're going to make the case for the Pats, plus 240 on Drake May is a decent price. But I took a stab on another defensive player, just in case I'm wrong on Seattle. If the Pats win this game, Marcus Jones is 100 to 1, another defensive back. I should probably be looking at pass rushers, but I'll go with another DB. Only one non-QB or wideout has won a Super Bowl MVP the last decade. 2 have done so the last 20 years. A running back hasn't won it. I was looking at this last night since Terrell Davis in 1997, which is painful for me as a Packer fan. So you got to look at defensive players that have won the award, and it's Von Miller, Malcolm Smith, Dexter Jackson, which is weird, and Ray Lewis.
Did Dexter Jackson have a pick 6 in that game, or a couple picks, I think, right?
He had 2 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had 2 picks. Malcolm Smith had that 69-yard pick 6 and a fumble recovery. Von Miller had 2.5 or 3 sacks. He also had forced 2 fumbles in the game, 2 forced fumbles. Ray Lewis was Ray Lewis, and that defense was one of the best in NFL history. He had
I would say that Von Miller was Von Miller, too. Like, he was the best player on that team, and it wasn't close.
Yeah, easily, man. And 2.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. But the reason I can make the case for Marcus Jones, if New England does pull off the upset, he has 3 interceptions in the regular season, second on the Pats in the regular season, took 1 to the house, also had 3 fumble recoveries, and had 2 sacks. He had the pick 6 in the playoff game against C.J. Stroud. He also has 2 punt return touchdowns, tied for the NFL lead in the regular season. 3 punt return touchdowns and 3 picks for touchdowns in 51 career games. He even has a receiving touchdown, which I don't remember. So 100 to 1, let's say the Pats do pull off the upset. I don't hate taking a stab on Marcus Jones just because he is a playmaker. He is a punt returner. And if they're going to win this game, especially with the way that their offense has looked the last month of the season. They're probably going to have a couple takeaways and defensive touchdowns, man. So I don't hate him. I really do like your JSN look, though. Like that, still at plus 550. Wish I would have bet that earlier.
Cluck and Cover brought to you by Splash Sports. Give Quick Picks a try on splashsports.com and the Splash Sports app. Use the promo code DINNER, and new users will receive a $50 deposit match. If it's your first Quick Pick slip, you'll get a $100, well, rather a 100% profit boost, not $100. Promo code DINNER on splashsports.com. Check it out. If you're looking for merch, beacons.ai/chickendinner. Mine showed up yesterday, so looking forward to, I think I'll wear that in the next chicken dinner coming out tomorrow. bet-chicken-dinner.printify.me. I'll have to get you something. We'll get you something. I don't know. You're like down to like a schmedium or something at this point, aren't you?
I was. And then I went home again for the holidays and I gained like 15 pounds. And I keep saying,
you were really a medium?
Large now.
Oh, large. God, I got kids on my team that are adult medium.
Yeah, I can't pull off. I can't pull that off anymore, but I could go large here. I keep telling myself I'm going to get back on track, and making it to the gym has been pretty easy. The problem is home all day, not having to drive into the studio for 5 hours.
Grazing.
It's
just
hard not to, yeah, you got the Costco membership. It's hard not to snack just nonstop. Also, I don't know about you guys. I know you were off. I believe you guys were off Monday. We've been off all week. My son's been off of school. My wife was off of work. We got like 12 to 13 inches.
Oh, the weather?
Yeah, they can't handle that here.
Our kids were off Friday, but they were back at it on Monday, and people were mad about that. They were mad that they were off on Friday. They were mad that they were there on Monday. You can't please people, but yeah, it's a joke. So your son did e-learning?
No,
or not at all.
They just did nothing.
They just cancel? They don't even try. So you're going to have to add that day at the end of the school year.
Yeah, and they already get out
sucks.
late. It's usually like the second or third week of June already.
Oh my God, what a joke.
Right, and it's torture. Well, and he goes back home. He goes to Joliet for the summer with my in-laws and with my parents. So it does suck. Sometimes right. And it's like, man, does he really need to go that final day? You know that they're not going to do anything when they're just making up days. But no e-learning. He just sits on the iPad or on PlayStation all day long.
Yep. Are the friends on the phone or on the iPad?
On the iPad. And now he's got the Oculus. So somehow they all do that together as well.
That's crazy. All right, we got a couple NFL nuggets. We'll be bouncing around throughout the rest of this Cluck and Cover. But the NFL news that came out, the big one, they got the Bills coach. That probably should have been the most coveted job, but I don't know. Some people were wishy-washy on that after hearing from the owner, and certainly understand. They hire from in-house. They promote Joe Brady from OC to head coach, and then the guy that was the favorite to get the Bills job, it looks like Brian Daboll is on the move, settling as an OC job, and maybe a place that's not the most coveted, but maybe for his position, it will be a little bit. That's confusing. Let's talk about it. What do you think about the Bills move and Titans, assuming they end up making this official and landing Daboll?
I would like actually the hire for Tennessee. I don't know about Daboll like immediately as a head coach. Obviously really like what he did that first year with the Giants. And I mean, they didn't have a whole lot of talent, but he got the most that season out of Daniel Jones, and Saquon actually stayed healthy. After that, it was a disaster. But I mean, yeah, Russell Wilson, the quarterback play wasn't great. The defense has not been good. But they do have talent. I mean, if you could get Scatterboo back healthy, I'm not really sold on Jackson Dart because I don't know that he could stay healthy. He's had 5 or 6 concussions already. I don't know.
People get very mad when you bring this up. I saw the comments last week. They're very mad about saying 5, 6, 7 concussions. Who the hell knows? But yeah, the reality is we don't know about all of them, but he was also concussed in college. That's still his life. You have to count those.
Right. I don't mean 5 or 6 last season.
Yeah.
I was going back to Ole Miss, but yeah, I mean, and again, he could change his playing style. He could learn how to slide with good coaching. I think that comes. He'll learn how to slide. He'll learn how to get out of bounds. I don't know that I'm in love with Jackson Dart as much as everybody else. The Giants defense has been no good. But with Daboll, I do like him I think, as a play caller. I love what he did with Josh Allen. And if he could get the most out of Cam Ward, because that's why I didn't really like going defensive-minded head coach when you have a quarterback entering year 2 who's got some stuff that he needs to clean up, some mechanic stuff. There's some good, but there was a lot of bad tape as well. I think Brian Daboll could get the most out of Cam Ward here for the next year or two. And then he's probably maybe getting head coaching looks. I thought there was a good chance he might go back or he might go to the college level. But I do like this hire. If you're going to go defensive-minded head coach, I think you have to knock it out of the park with your OC. And again, they got to upgrade it like every single skill position. But I do like that move for Tennessee. I don't know that I love the move for Buffalo, man. And I like Buffalo like most coming into the season. I'm a big Josh Allen guy. I get, where if you're a fan or if you're on the outside and you're like, well, you can't let Joe Brady walk. I mean, since they replaced Ken Dorsey, what was that, November of 2023, they've only lost 10 games in the regular season. They're 31-10. They average 29.1 points per game, which is second in the NFL. And if you're an EPA nerd, EPA per play, 0.14. That's number 1 in the NFL. The thing is, though, I mean, the offense has been solid. Josh Allen wins the MVP last year. James Cook finishes with the rushing title in 2025. They broke records for points and touchdowns in a season in franchise history in 2024. But does Joe Brady make you feel any better when you get to the playoffs? Could he win those extra 2 games? Could he win in the AFC Championship against Mahomes? Who are they going to go with at DC? Because if they just stand pat, man, what are you really changing? So I don't know that I love the hire for Buffalo. I don't know that this gets them over the hump. I think they need more talent. I would love them with a true number 1 wide receiver for Josh Allen. I mean, he's balled out the last 2 years, but I don't like Keon Coleman. Shakir is a solid number 2 or a number 3 or a slot receiver. I would love him with a real outside threat. And then you got to upgrade on the defensive side of the ball. They've had so many injuries the last couple of years. I don't know that I love it. I don't hate it because his offenses have been really good. And Josh Allen also had a say in the coaching hire. So if that's who he wants, that's who he's going to get. He's the franchise quarterback. He's the guy making all the money. So if that's who he wanted, I understand it. But I don't know that this gets them over the hump.
The big move for the Bills was promoting the failing GM. That's the big move for the Bills. Because like you mentioned, they need more talent. You're 100% correct. Because Allen lists everybody else. But it's not enough. You need more. You need some depth. You need receivers. They need a lot. I'm not interested in betting on this team anytime soon. Okay, you can like the Brady hire, whatever. I think he's probably equal to a lot of people they would have brought in. Is there a difference if they go with Daboll or Brady? Probably not. No. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't think there's much of a difference. I think it's just fine. They're not going to upset anything. On the Titans, I do find it like you didn't like Saleh, but you like Daboll, so overall it seems okay. Cam Ward, can you play with concussions? Because Daboll's going to try and make you play with concussions like he did Cam Ward. Get your ass back out there. So that's the big question. I think they're fine. Bills is fine. I don't think it's good. You got to have a hot take. It's either great or it's horrible. No, it's neither. It's not horrible, and it's definitely not great because we don't know yet. It's not Ben Johnson. I can tell you that if that's the thinking that they're having out there. So best of luck. Titans are going to be in a better situation. Yeah. Maybe Saleh's not a great head coach, but they're going to be in a better situation with that defense and with that offense. So I think they're trending upwards as far as that goes. And we wait on 2 more, Arizona, Cleveland. And honestly, who the hell cares? Like the big jobs have been filled. The main quarterbacks that are going to contend have been filled. Like those are newsworthy. Whatever Arizona or Cleveland end up doing to us probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, Arizona's fascinating, man, just because, like, who the hell is the starting quarterback? Is Kyler back? I talked myself into Kyler. I know nobody cares about fantasy football, but in my like big dynasty league 2 years ago, I talked myself into him, and I really liked the Jonathan Gannon hire, and boy, was I wrong. In fact, I played them this year over 7.5 wins. That was one that I was wrong on. So, yeah, I mean, those 2 franchises, it really doesn't matter because if they have a losing season or 2, they could just go out and get the big name when he's out there, for the next run. But for Tennessee, I don't know that they're that far off. Now, they need a lot of talent, which I guess you could say, okay, they are far off, but they think they got their quarterback in Cam Ward. And you look at the rest of the division, the Colts really fell off a cliff. And I think that'll be the case next year. The Texans, we love their defense. It might be the best defense in the league, but Stroud's a disaster. And that offensive line is no good. And then the Jags, I like them coming into this year one for Liam Cohen, but wouldn't be shocked if they kind of went back to just being Jacksonville next year. So
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, I don't think Tennessee's too far off. And Saleh, now that's where we find out now, is he a head coach? Because the Jets, that was a mess, but everybody that goes to the Jets, it's usually a mess. And if he could fix that defense, have them top 15, top 20, and you get the most out of Cam Ward, they might be a sneaky wild card team in a year or two.
I love the reaction that I'm seeing from Packers fans out of your new defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. Love it. I mean, this guy, not that long ago, he was one of the hot names, and now he's looked like a complete failure. But I'm seeing some of the videos float around, and people are putting on there, this guy couldn't motivate me to make a sandwich. It's F. It's F in Packers Nation, right?
Yeah, they all hate it. I actually like it, to be honest with you. But then again, I just got done saying that I like Jonathan Gannon, the hire a couple of years ago as a head coach. Right. I like the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles had a ton of talent on that defense when he was the coordinator, and they made that run to the Super Bowl. I don't hate it. I think a lot of people hate it because a lot of people wanted LaFleur gone. Not a lot of people wanted LaFleur back, and Jonathan Gannon is one of his buddies. So they think that's why he's getting the gig, kind of like Joe Barry a couple of years ago. I think it comes down to, man, can the Packers upgrade in the secondary? Keyshawn Nixon can't be, and I know he made the Pro Bowl, but so did Shedeur Sanders. He can't be cornerback number one. You got to go out. You got to get a lockdown corner. And is Micah Parsons back? I know he says he doesn't want to start the season on IR. I don't think that's going to be the case. Is he back week 5, week 6 for the second half of the season? Because if you have Micah Parsons, even coming off that injury, he's still a top 5, top 10 pass rusher. If you could upgrade in the secondary, I don't know that it matters who the coordinator is. So I don't hate it. I do think that Green Bay is a double-digit win team again next season. I think they should be better as long as Mike is back.
Here's where I love you. You don't waste any time. I'm not playing. Yeah, I know college football is a long time from now, but you don't waste. You see an opportunity. You're not going to hesitate. You're going to strike. You're not going to be like me sometimes where I'm like, oh, I talked about it. I liked it. And I just either didn't pull the trigger or didn't love it enough to actually bet it. You already have a Heisman play. We've talked about the Heisman odds, but you're already down on a player. Which one?
All right. So yeah. I like this one quite a bit. Darian Mensah. And I really liked him last year at Duke. The problem with Duke last year, man, way too many turnovers. But so this Mensah situation, we're taping here on Tuesday, and it finally gets resolved. So he was the number 5, I believe, or number 6 overall player in the transfer rankings, according to ESPN. And it looks like now it's official. He's going to leave Duke. He was making $4 million. So this was like going back and forth because initially he said in December that he was going back to Duke for the 2026 season. He considered going to the NFL draft. He wasn't going to be a top 10, top 15 pick. So he decided he was going to go back to Duke. He has this multi-year NIL deal where he was making $4 million. That expired on December 31st. So he reversed his decision, told Duke's coach, Manny Diaz, on January 15th or 16th or something like that, that he was going to transfer and he wanted to go to Miami. Then I guess it had to go to court or whatever, and then it finally gets resolved. So it looks like he is going to end up going to Miami. And last year at Duke, he led the ACC, 3,973 passing yards, 34 touchdowns. Duke wins the ACC title for the first time since 1962. They shouldn't have. A fluky year, but he was awesome, and he almost threw for 4,000 yards. And I think in that Miami offense, he could throw for 40 touchdowns, 4,000 yards. Miami with Carson Beck goes to the title game. And I don't think you're going to get a better price because they also announced earlier yesterday the schedule. And they open up with Stanford on September 4th on the road, but it's Stanford. Then they go back home week 2, September 10th, and they play Florida A&M. Then they travel to Wake Forest on September 18th. Then they get Central Michigan at home in Miami on September 26th. So that's their first 4 games of the season. Stanford, Florida A&M, Wake Forest, and Central Michigan. So you're getting 20-1 right now on Mensa. I think that price is long gone when we get the first road matchup against Clemson, the first road matchup that means anything on October 3rd. He's probably down to what, like 12-1, 10-1. After that, it's Florida State. They host Pitt. They get North Carolina on Halloween. The next big game for them, road game against Notre Dame, November 7th. So I think if they finish with 10 wins, they go 10-2. He's worth a bet at 20-1. They're going to have Malachi Toney going back. He was only a freshman. He was ridiculous this season. And it also looks like they're going to get his top wide receiver as well from Duke. So I really like Darian Mensah right now at 20-1 for the Heisman.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Everything that you're putting out there, he's going to have talent around him because Cristobal is going to recruit the hell out of it. And it's a good system for him to go into. He's going to put up numbers. Look at just what happened with Beck. And like you mentioned, living in the ACC, look at that schedule that he's going to be facing. Not bad at all. So I think that's a pretty good look. Where do you think it ends up closing? Where we're going to be at once we get closer to the season?
It's a really good question, man. Especially once Miami's done here in the transfer portal. Because like I said, they're going to bring over his top receiver from Duke. And then you also have Toney returning. They're probably not done. Their offensive, the trenches have been really good. Not only the defensive line, but the offensive line for Miami the last 2 years. For Cam Ward last year, I would think probably 18 to 15-1 is probably where we close before we get to August. I could be wrong. But with that schedule, with I think we could be down to 8-1 going into that Clemson game because they're going to pad.
Look at those last 3 games, all at home.
And at Duke last
Tech,
year,
BC.
Right. And at Duke last year, he almost threw for 4,000 yards and he threw 32 touchdowns. And Duke obviously had talent last year. They spent a ton of money, most of it on him. But with that offensive line and with Toney and with, a couple of his other guys coming over, man, I think he could throw, like I said, 40 touchdowns, 4,000 yards. And if they win double-digit games, let's say they beat Notre Dame again, even if that's the only game that they lose, I think he's at least going to get the invitation to New York. Unless, everybody just hates him because he's a fuck. And they're like, man, this is his, third
you mean
school?
Like the last guy? You mean like the last guy?
Yeah. Right. He was at Tulane. Then he was at Duke. He's set to make another $4 million, decides I don't want to go back. Flirted with the NFL. But no, I think he'll at least be in the running. So, just as far as value, I think that's the best bet on the board right there at 20-1. I would rather bet him than Sam Levitt. I'm not sold that Sam Levitt's any good, man. And I'm not betting him at 18-1. You missed the boat on that one. Arch, I do think, has a bounce back year, but I'm not going to take the favorite at plus 850.
Again, he's a favorite.
I love CJ Carr. That would be my homer bet as a Notre Dame fan, but I would rather just bet Notre Dame to win the national championship because I think this is a big year like we talked about on the last podcast for them because I could see Marcus Freeman taking an NFL job, especially when we got Robert Saleh and fucking Joe Brady getting hired. You're telling me that if these same teams come calling next year, Marcus ain't leaving Notre Dame? I think so. So hopefully they could win it all this year. I would rather bet that than Carr to win the Heisman.
It could be that game, Miami, Notre Dame, the better performing / winning quarterback ends up winning the Heisman. That's a real world possibility. All right. A couple quick hitting things before we get out of here. Now that we have this little bit of a layoff up until the Super Bowl, a week and a half from now, people that haven't are diving into college hoops. They were watching all day on Saturday. That was a pretty good card. A lot of freshmen, men are killing it this year, but a lot of people are just starting to dive into that. You bet a lot of different stuff. It seems like you've been there along for the ride and maybe you wish you weren't.
Yeah, college basketball has been crushing me. I had a good Saturday. I bet 3 games. Saturday went well. We had a 3-0 Saturday, but my favorite bet probably of the season was last night. But I knew I was fucked because I went on social media for the first time all weekend. And you see a lot of the content creators or just people talking college hoops and everybody liked BYU. And they opened, I want to say 3. I got 3. I don't know if 3.5s were ever available. And then, yesterday morning, I saw it was all the way down to 1.5 against Arizona, who's the best team in college hoops this year. Definitely a top 2, top 3 team in college hoops. And I tuned in late, and it's the start of the second half, and BYU's down like 13 or 14 points. And I always joke that's where you want to be when you're betting the NBA or college basketball, because it's a game of runs. Anytime I have a big lead in the first half, I never feel good about it. They rally, BYU does, with like 12 seconds to go. It's a 1-point game. They actually have a shot to win the game, all just to lose the game by exactly 3 points. So after sweating it out for, I didn't watch the entire game, but an hour and 20 minutes, I get a push. And it's just like, you used to feel so good, man. Not that closing line value, obviously it matters, but in college basketball, I would feel so good on a Saturday morning getting like a 7. Number closes at 4.5. But now I feel like it means less than it's ever meant, ever. It's kind of like the unranked team at home that's a favorite over the ranked team. I feel like that doesn't matter as much as it used to. Not ever that you were going to hit it 100% clip, but I really felt fucking good about BYU against Arizona, man. And I'm really glad, though, that I got the 3, because if I would have bet the 1.5, and I think they actually closed as a 1 or 1.5 point favorite, I would have lost the bet after all that. So, yeah, college basketball continues to torch me this season. It's just not the same that it was even like 4 or 5 years ago when I was betting it pretty heavy. So I'm going to pump the brakes on that. I've been betting more golf.
Your point about CLV, it feels like that's the case in a lot of sports. We were saying that in the football season as well. College, NFL, it wasn't what it once was. So yeah, that's interesting / frustrating at the same time. I bet golf over the weekend. Scheffler runs away with it. It's funny, like day 2, day 3, you look at the top of the leaderboard and you see he's like tied, or it's a 1-stroke lead, or back a stroke. I'm like, it felt like he was up 10, didn't it?
Yeah. It really did, dude. And, I actually bet Scotty this weekend. What was it? 3-1. I'm looking at it right now. Usually I just avoid and I stay away, but I was just like, to start the season, it's kind of like a struggling shooter. I just needed to see one go through the net, because 3 years ago, I had a really good summer as far as the outrights. Last year, I think I had 2 winners the entire year. So I just wanted to see one go through the net. I did bet Scotty. I bet Scotty at 3-1. Which again, not a great price. And then I had a couple other ones, that didn't even come close, that didn't even make the cut. I did bet a couple for the Farmers already, though. I need some action this weekend.
Oh,
I have no interest in the Pro Bowl, obviously. We'll see, college basketball on Saturday, and the rest of the week what we get. But I took a shot with Jason Day, 28-1 right now over at BetMGM.
I don't have all I'll mention it tomorrow on Chicken Dinner with Sam. I haven't taken my deep dive yet, a little bit behind as far as golf, but the one name I had written down because of last weekend was Jason Day.
Yep. Last weekend. And he's won this event twice in the past. He won it in 2018 and then I think like 2015. He's also been a runner-up, finished 3rd and inside the top 10. He's played 7 occasions here. So I do like that. Like the way that he looked.
What'd you get? 27, I see. Is there a better number?
28 at BetMGM.
Okay.
Yeah, if that's still available. That's what I grabbed yesterday. I had 2 others. Let's see. Oh, I bet Decky, which is my weekly donation. Same, BetMGM, 25-1. He started the year with a win inside the first 6 events. So, in all but one of the last 4 seasons on the PGA Tour. So usually he gets that early one. So we'll see. Went with Decky at 28-1. And then my long shot, or my value bet, I guess, would be Wyndham Clark, 45-1. Like this, man. I mean, he's won some big events. Pebble Beach, Pro-Am, U.S. Open, former U.S. Open champ, 9th for driving distance. That's where he ranks. And I like anybody that could drive here. So those are the 3 that I have so far. Probably add a couple.
All right, good. We'll talk more about that on Chicken Dinner. Good stuff there. I like those plays, especially since you mentioned the one name that I was definitely thinking about heading into this weekend. I threw this at Sam. I wanted to get your thoughts as a guy that bets golf. So I thought about Scheffler. I did not bet Scheffler. So my buddy Barry Rosner was like, look, here's how you get a Scheffler price, a good Scheffler price at a major. And he was doing this last year. I think he's done it the last couple of years. There are only specific books that do this, and I'm wondering if this interests you at all. I decided not to do it at the very last minute. And there's like one book in Illinois where I can do this at. What he does is when it's right, it doesn't mean every weekend, but when he feels right about it, where he thinks Scheffler is going to dominate like he did this past weekend, he does a parlay. Scheffler win the tournament, the weekend's tournament, with him at every major. That's what he does. And I was going to do it, and then dumb me, I'm like, it's still, I know he's Scotty freaking Scheffler, but it's really hard to win 2 golf tournaments and to pick them. The number I was getting was around 19-20 to 1, parlaying American Express with the different majors. What do you think about that as a way of getting it? And like, hey, you could add something else. Like I was after the fact, I'm like, oh, you idiot. You could have added Seattle Super Bowl or Seattle to win the NFC, something like that to juice it up. But what do you think about that as a way to get some better Scotty numbers?
Yeah, I mean, because there's only so many ways that you could play these tournaments. I mean, if you're looking to beat Scotty, I prefer just to do it in the market without Scotty Scheffler. I mean, you're not going to get some of the same prices, obviously, but I don't hate that whatsoever. I like Scotty. I would like throw it in with the Masters. I was all about Rory last year in the story, but I bet Rory every year. But I mean, he's won the Masters twice, 2022, 2024. He's won the PGA Championship. He's won the Open Championship. So I don't hate throwing in like the PGA Championship and the Open, right, to get a better price. I think that that's a good look. Or like you said, the cross sport parlay, throw it in with Seattle to win the Super Bowl, a national champion maybe. Indiana would have been a really good one. Going like, man, looking at it now, Indiana, Seattle, and Scotty Scheffler.
Oh my
Even
God.
Scotty at a major would be a really good one.
He's just so much better than everybody else. Like
I always just screw up
Tiger.
on which, right. But that's where I always screw up is which major
I know.
is he going to win? And it's usually the one where he shits the bed, and then that's where I'm involved. So that's the only thing, man, is it's so hard, even with Scotty being this dominant. But I don't hate that look. Rather than betting him at plus 300 or plus 450 or, only 5 to 1. The juice not really worth the squeeze. I'd rather try to beat him. But this week, it just felt right.
Yep. Totally agree. Good stuff, Cluck and Cover this week. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that thumbs up button at betchickendinner. Horvat is at Ryan Horvat. Leave comments on Spotify. We appreciate that. And under the Chicken Dinner feed, Apple Podcasts, give us a rating and a review as well. All right. So next week, we'll have plenty all week as far as Super Bowl props. And Horvat, I know you're going to be having a ton. We'll talk about what you normally bet, but you already gave out 3. So like I'm expecting at least 20.
I'm hoping when we come back on Tuesday that Travion Henderson's rushing yards are up to like 23.5, 24.5. I'm hoping that maybe Darian Mensah's down to like 15 to 1 to win the Heisman because Miami's signed like 3 or 4 different players.
You want that CLV that you said means nothing.
Yeah, that it means nothing, especially because Miami's just going to start off 4-0, averaging 45 to 50 points per game. And then I'm pretty sure that Marcus Jones, 100 to 1 right now at FanDuel, isn't going anywhere. But I do like that value bet if you think the Pats have a shot. But yeah, I'm excited to dive into it all next week.